Hey there, friends. I hope you're doing well. I'm Laura, aka Weird Barbie, and today we're talking about the journey. Not just any journey, but my journey to level 72 Hunter in Old School RuneScape. Also, I can attempt to obtain what might genuinely be the gayest pet in the game.
Ha! Gay!
Before we get into that, I want to take a second to plug some things I'm really proud of, and it'll only take a second, I swear. If you enjoy gaming news paired with thoughtful conversations about why games work the way they do, check out The Campfire, a gaming podcast co-hosted by me and Emperor's Arcade. You can find it everywhere you get your podcasts, and episode 3 is out now. We also have a Patreon linked below where you can join our Game of the Month club, free this month. Our current pick is Guild Wars 1, which we've both been loving, and we'd love to talk about it with you in our bonus episode. And if you like your dark fantasy extra spicy, I also have a book out now called Heart's Gambit Heat, available on Amazon. It's a medieval LGBTQ plus romantasy about two broken men who begin as combatants, grow into best friends and brothers in arms, and then very awkwardly, very inevitably fall in love. If that sounds like your kind of thing, I'd adore it if you checked it out. All the links, including the Discord for the Blanket Fort, are down below, so come on over, crawl into the Blanket Fort, and join our community. Now, all that out of the way, what is the gayest bird in the game, you might ask? I'm talking about Quetzin, a rare, glorious, multicolored bird, a pride flag with wings, a dream. He's so beautiful. And before anyone asks, yes, this is absolutely going to be worth it in the end. Fashionscape is everything. Now, I gotta say, my RuneScape sessions look less like a straight line and more like a web. Quests leading to skills, skills leading to other quests, all of it scribbled out in a bullet journal that honestly looks completely unhinged to anyone except me. You might have seen my old video series, OSRS Adventures, and I want to continue the spirit of those videos in this new format. These videos are going to be about the leveling journey, even the boring parts. I'll walk you through what I'm aiming for, why I want it, and cover all the weird little detours RuneScape throws in to fuck with me along the way. I want to actually show you my journal and talk through the process and document how one small idea turns into an entire progression arc. With all that out of the way, grab a tea, your favorite hoodie, pet a dog if there's one nearby, and let's dive in. I'll be honest, I did not expect to enjoy hunter training as much as I have. I put it off forever and avoided it because, it just seemed finicky and boring. But I knew there were hunter pets to get, and I'm a slut for pets, so I looked into them, and oh my god, I found my new favorite! Acquiring the gayest bird in the game became my new obsession, and thus hunter training became my hyper-focus. Turns out, it's a ton of fun once you get into it. Hunter's one of those skills that just has, so much variety. You're not locked into one boring loop, unless you want to be. You've got hunting, trapping, snaring, tracking, aerial fishing, using a friggin' cormorant to fish for you. Something I absolutely plan to do, by the way, as I also am after that blue heron fishing pet, and that would allow me to kill two birds with one stone. With one bird. To get other birds. Anyway, you get my point. I love birds, what can I say? You also have drift fishing, which requires you to outfit yourself like you're entering a Scuba Steve cosplay competition for max efficiency. And there's more than that. Not only are there multiple ways to approach the skill, it actually feels like you're, hunting. I used to love Cabela's Big Game Hunter and games like that, so I actually do have a slight preference for hunting in games and hunting games, so this is really starting to scratch an itch that I didn't realize that was itchy, you know what I mean? One of my favorite early training methods early on, though, I would have to say is trapping lizards, because not only was it chill and straightforward, but I loved that I could just, let them go afterwards. You don't have to, kill them, Catch and release vibes are immaculate. It builds good karma, even if you're just doing it in video games. Before I go any further, I want to rewind just a little, because if you watched my last video, you already know that my original goal wasn't getting this gayest of birds. My goal was to get the large meat pouch, which actually I did, so yay, congrats me. But wow, that goal came with a truly unhinged checklist. It was one of those classic old school RuneScape moments where you start with a simple goal and suddenly you're like knee deep in side systems, item chains, and skills you weren't planning on touching that month. If you want to see the beginning of this whole hunter saga, the meat pouch grind, the crafting detours, and how this spiraled into a full-on hunter obsession, you should definitely go check out that previous video first. This is very much a part 2 of that story. But now back to the hunter grind. The real turning point in my journey in my quest for the gayest of birds? Another bird. I discovered falconry. I've always had a fascination in real life with falconry. It's something I want to get into if I'm ever, my book takes off and I become extremely wealthy. I would love to have a mew of hunting falcons. That would be so cool. It's elegant, it's graceful, it's skillful, and it's a little Robin Hood in like the best way. So when I realized I could actually do falconry in game, I was immediately sold. There's something about watching my bird dive and catch something that just scratches my brain perfectly. What's more is the gameplay feels active click-wise without being stressful. It has no bank runs to interrupt my flow, and it's honestly just plain cool. So once I unlocked falconry, that became my go-to, and it's what I'm using right now to grind out 72 hunter. I want to pause for a second and talk about falconry in real life, because it's one of those ancient practices that feels almost mythic. Falconry isn't about domination or forcing an animal to obey you. It's built on trust. A falconer trains their bird, yes, but the bird always has a choice. It can come back or it can just leave. Every successful hunt is a collaboration, not a guarantee. And that's what's always fascinated me about it. You're working with something wild, something beautiful, something that isn't yours. You're just borrowing its companionship for the moment. That's why falconry in Old School RuneScape feels so meaningful to me. Sure, it's just another hunter training method. You throw the bird, you catch the prey, you run to go get it. But mechanically, it's about participation. It's very much like agility, but the target boxes you're clicking on are constantly moving. You don't AFK it, you stay present, you pay attention, you actively take part in the hunt. It feels different from trapping something and waiting. It feels more intentional, like you and the bird are doing this together. And yes, I did name my falcon Griffith. If you know me, then you know. Hi Jeff, hi Matthew, hi Mom and Dad. I have to stop and say, this whole gay bird journey hasn't been about rushing or efficiency maxing in any way. It's been all about engagement, about choosing a method that feels right, that feels cool, that makes me want to get up and play each morning and stay logged in just a little longer each night. And I've kind of found that in falconry. Now, as you know by now, all of this effort has one very specific goal, attempting to get Quetzin, the gayest of birds. But of course, RuneScape said not so fast. To even attempt this, I needed to complete quests, my enemy in Old School RuneScape. They're long, they're tedious, and I needed to do 2 of them to begin rolling loot sacks from doing hunter rumors at the expert level to hopefully pull Quetzin. Welcome to the gacha quest spiral. First up, I had to unlock expert hunter rumors, which would require access to the Hunter's Guild. To reach the Hunter's Guild, I needed access to Varlamore. To reach Varlamore, I had to complete the quest Children of the Sun. Then, once I actually got there, I had to unlock Hunter Rumors, which meant I needed to complete the quest At First Light. And that quest came with its own fun requirements like 30 herb lore and 27 construction for some reason. So suddenly, my hunter pet journey turned into skilling detours that led me to home ownership, many long trips to the GE listening to music or watching Hell's Kitchen for the billionth time because I love Gordon Ramsay, and discovering that every goal in OSRS is actually 5 to 10 smaller goals giggling at you from inside a trench coat. And I love it. So let's talk about what I actually had to do. First up is 27 construction. To get there, I had to go to Varrock and officially become a homeowner by buying a house from an estate agent. Once I owned the house, I headed to Rimington with a full inventory of planks, a saw, a hammer, steel nails, and absolutely zero respect for my time. And then I just built furniture, over and over, until it was time for a bank trip to get more planks. Then it was back to building furniture. I ran this loop over and over again. Gordon Ramsay discovered the nastiest kitchens for hours upon hours on my second screen until my construction level finally crawled its way up to 27. It wasn't that bad of a grind, but if I was gonna train any higher, I think I would first move my home somewhere closer to a bank. Next up was 30 herb lore. That meant a trip to the GE where I bought a kind of irresponsible amount of herbs, specifically grimy Ranar leaves, and I ground out those last 5 levels. It wasn't that many levels, so I didn't feel too bad just like buying what I needed, but it was still kind of expensive. A couple million gold or something like that.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
But my herb lore was done. With the skill requirements out of the way, I could finally move on to the quests themselves. First was Children of the Sun. This one started in Varrock Square, where I spoke to Noah, then immediately got roped into some light espionage. I had to follow a suspicious guy around without being spotted, then report back, and then help Sergeant Tobin identify a bunch of fake guards. After that, it was Cutscene City. I talked to Tobin, watched things unfold with the prince, do the interrogation, yada yada yada, talk to Tobin again, and eventually, mercifully, the quest wrapped up. Then it was time for At First Light, which is where things really went off the rails. Before I could even start, I needed to grab a needle, a hammer, and 2 jerboa tails, so back to the GE I went. I started the quest by talking to the Quetzin guy. He's out by the east gate of Varrock, and that allowed me to get to the Hunters Guild, which is nearby to the city that you land in. I can't remember what it's called, but after that, I spoke to Apatura. From there, I headed down to the guild's bar called the Burrow to talk to Scribe Verity. She told me to go talk to this guy named Wolf, so I did that, but that's where I fucked up. I was supposed to use a cat toy on a cat, and I did it all wrong, which meant I had to backtrack all the way to Varrock to buy more toy mice, teleport back to Varlamore using the Quetzal teleport, and then redo the interaction correctly so I could actually fix the cat bed and then talk to Wolf again. From there, I traveled southeast of the guild to the Avium Savannah to find Fox. He sent me on a small botanical side quest where I had to gather plants, make a poultice, and deliver it, after which he gave me a fur sample. That sample had to go to Atza in Civitas Illa Fortis, where she made me clean up some equipment in the middle of the room for reasons I'm still not totally clear on. But she trimmed the fur, gave it back to me, so I took it straight back to Fox. And then Fox sent me to repair Kiko's bed, because of course he did. Once that was done, though, I delivered Fox's report back to Verity in the Barrow. She sent me one last time to speak to Apatura, and finally, after all of that, Hunter Rumors unlocked. I wasn't done yet, but I was one step closer to my goal, and that felt good. At some point during all of this, I was flipping through my bullet journal, the one where I track all my quests and goals, and I realized the page kind of looks like a spider web. There's lines everywhere, arrows pointing to other arrows, intersecting, running all over the page, notes branching off into side notes, level, requirements, quests, items, all tangled together. And yeah, if someone else looked at it, they'd probably think it was chaos, like pure incomprehensible nonsense. But the thing about a spider's web is that it doesn't exist to be understood. It exists to work. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. It doesn't have to be tidy or impressive or explainable. It just has to do what it was made to do. And I think that's true for creative dreams too. Whether that's playing RuneScape in a very specific, inefficient but joyful way, or making videos, or chasing a dumb, beautiful goal like a really gay bird. Your process doesn't need outside validation. Your web of insanity doesn't need approval. If what you're doing is working for you, if it's functional, if it's feeding your creativity, if it's making you happy, then that's not chaos. That's craft, my friend. So yeah, my notes look unhinged, but the web is holding. It's kind of what made all this questing feel good instead of overwhelming, because I had a clear set of goals. Every quest, every level gained, every detour had a reason. I wasn't just questing for the sake of questing, I was doing it for the bird. While grinding towards 72 Hunter, I got quite close. I was very aware I was approaching level 69. Yes, haha, very mature, very funny, we all laughed. But jokes aside, 69 is actually a huge milestone for me because it unlocks dashing kebits, which massively increase my XP per hour from that point onward. That means everything up to 69 feels sort of like the setup, the initial climb. I'm stalking all the camps on my way up to the summit. And, hitting that 69 would be the signal for the final push. The grind from 69 to 72 is probably going to be the hardest stretch of this whole journey, but with better XP rates and falconry still feeling really great, I think it's going to go pretty good. Currently, I'm sitting here at 66 Hunter, grinding out level 72 with falconry, just vibing, throwing my bird at prey, and inching closer to unlocking expert hunter rumors. But once that's done, we will start decimating local wildlife populations so we can roll the dice on loot sacks. We will be 5-starring the game hourly and praying to RNGesus, and we will attempt to summon Quetzin into existence. All so I can look cute. If you enjoyed this episode of Notes from GIELINOR, or if you too would do anything for a gay bird, I'd really appreciate it if you left a like. It genuinely helps out more than you think. And if you're new here, yes, I'm talking to you, Steven. Sorry, I probably just freaked out like 0.1% of my audience. And if your name actually is Steven, I'm so sorry. But even if you aren't Steven, if this kind of cozy, slightly unhinged RuneScape video is your thing, consider subscribing. About 90% of you guys watching aren't subscribed, which is honestly kind of silly because you clearly like being here. When you subscribe, you get to join the coziest corner of the internet. Come hang out in the Blanket Fort, our Discord community. We've got snacks, blankets, and video games. It's a really good time. And before I move on, thank you. We just hit 1,000 subscribers, and that genuinely means more to me than I can put into words. This channel started as a quiet little creative space for myself, and the fact that 1,000 of you chose to stick around, watch, comment, and hang out, that's huge. I'm really grateful you're here. If you want even more cozy game talk, don't forget to check out The Campfire, a gaming podcast with Ember's Arcade. Episode 3 is out now everywhere you get your podcasts. And if you want to be part of our Game of the Month club, the Patreon is linked below. It's free this month. We're playing Guild Wars 1, and we'd love to talk about it with you in our bonus episode. Thank you for spending a piece of your time here with me today. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, stay weird, stay cozy, and keep leveling.